we are alive and nothing stopping us, right? Despite the fact that no, the weather is acting up on us. However, nothing stops us because today we are going to be having that webinar. You know that webinar about yeah, you see, this is let me fix up this. Okay, so we're gonna keep this back and use my microphone. All right, you're gonna catch a replay, do well, and let us know where you're watching from. For your mother raising sons, of course, you know that this webinar is specially for you. Yeah, so we're talking about something very important. We've been talking about this month, the ministry of Jochebed, right? The the ministry of Jochebed, and it's very relevant because Jochebed was somebody that raised a son that we are still talking about today, as long as Christianity is concerned, as long as even Judaism is concerned. Jochebed raised a son that is that the whole that a son that is transgenerational, a son that is trans. I don't know what they even talk about, you know. So if you are a mom raising sons, Jochebed is one person that you should look out for. And I've been thinking about Jochebed since I used to study women of the Bible. And each time I meditate concerning Jochebed, I just get big revelations that I can't even, you know, that I never even attempted to break down. All I did was just marvel at this woman. Like, how did she do it? How did this whole thing happen? It's just a woman who decided that her son was not going to be part of the now, she was not going to be thrown into the now like the other boys. And that decision changed the whole world. That decision saved a generation. That decision, you know, that decision is just was just it, right? And you know what makes her so outstanding, the second woman like her, Hannah, is that she just had a very short time to achieve her purpose, right? She had barely 5 years, you know, to be able to achieve that purpose of raising raising Moses, that didn't forget where he came from, right? So today you're looking at, because of the work I do, you're looking at raising sexually pure sons in a culture that, you know, still in a culture where Pharaoh is still raising man. I'm sure you know that Pharaoh is still very much at work in this generation. I'm sure you know that the now is still very much available in this generation. I'm sure you know that for you to be able to, despite the madness of Pharaoh and despite the now, that you are expected to raise a Moses, a Jesus, a Joseph, a deliverer, a generational giant. You are still tasked, given the task to raise giants, despite the fact that Pharaoh still raised man. Josheba didn't have an excuse. She didn't go. She didn't give up. She didn't give excuses. She went right in and she was able to do it. So the Bible says we are looking at five Jochebe's secrets to raising sexually pure sons in a culture where Pharaoh still raised man. Like this, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months because they saw he was no ordinary child and they were not afraid of the king's edict. That's Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23. They were not afraid of the king's edict. Sorry, let me just take some hot water. So much. They were not afraid of the king's edict. Yeah. So that's what happened. This is the New Testament telling us what really happened. That these guys' parents did what they did by faith, right? And they were able to do it because they conquered the fear, the fear of Pharaoh. Follow me gently, right? Moses' parents, not just Jochebeds, because based on what we're talking about today, they did that. Um, they saw that Moses come on. It even begins with what you're seeing concerning that. So are you just seeing an ordinary 10-year-old boy, depending on age or child is? Are you just seeing just a primary school boy as a son? Are you just seeing a baby, a baby boy that you're carrying? Is that what you're seeing? They saw beyond the boy, they saw beyond the baby they had. This was no ordinary child. And there's no child that is ordinary. Let me catch you there. Before you say, well, how am I supposed to make my own son is ordinary or extraordinary? Nobody is ordinary. No baby, no child is ordinary. It's actually God. God is not an ordinary God. So he created everyone to be just like him, extraordinary. He didn't create any child to be an ordinary child. The problem is, right? Sorry. The problem is right in this verse. Okay, that's where the whole thing changes. You know, the whole sorry about that. The whole conversation changes at the point. Let's see, where we talk about the song. Yeah. So sorry about this one. The whole conversation changes in the phrase or the clause. I don't know what to call it. In these two words, they saw. He saw that he was no ordinary child. First of all, no child is ordinary. No child is ordinary. Because, of course, God is not ordinary. He didn't create any human being ordinary. What makes the difference between two people who you think one is ordinary and the other is extraordinary is they saw. Parents that saw. Parents that see. Parents that see beyond, that see more than others. The parenting that differentiates one child from the other. So the one will be ordinary. Oh my God, the network is just bad. I hope I can be heard. Looks like I was not even being heard before. Ah, so I was talking about seeing what the parents see in a child is what differentiates two people, whether they will be ordinary or not. Now compare Moses to somebody like Samson. Samson, remember Moses was not prophesied about. There was no encounter, there was no angelic encounter from God to Jochebed or Amram. There was no record of that. He just came like like every other child. Was the mother's son. Now look at Samson after so many years of the parents waiting, and then at the end of the day, they got an encounter, right? And in the encounter, they were told that they're going to have a son, and these and he was instructions were given on how to raise him as a Nazarite. At the end of the day, Samson didn't fulfill. Samson wasted his whole life. He wasted his gifts and talents, lost his vision until he finally lost his life. But look at Moses on the other hand. What's the difference? Even though these parents got expert instructions on how to raise this boy, yes. So it's not really about encounter or what God told you. Um, After God finished telling you, you have to get to work. If not, that child will be lost. That's the truth. So for Moses, the parents saw, and because they saw, they acted out of what they saw, based on what they saw, based on what they saw concerning the child, they began to act to ensure that they preserve that destiny. What you see will determine concerning your children, how you raise them. If you're just seeing them as that ordinary child, ordinary person, that's the same thing, the same way you're going to raise that. So, welcome once again, Mother of Songs. Today is not just a webinar, it's a war room. We're raising songs in a culture that is aggressively targeting their identity, their purity, and their destiny. So, raising a son, have it in mind that you're raising that son in a culture that is aggressively targeting their identity, their purity, and their destiny. Listen, that is exactly what Pharaoh was doing by making that command or that order, that declaration that boys should into the now. He was against their identity as God's sons, as Israelites, as Hebrew boys. He was a direct attack against the identity of the Hebrew boys. He was against their purity. Now would corrupt them, and it was against their destiny. Of course, a dead child a dead child equals a dead destiny. So when a child dies, it's a destiny that went unfulfilled because no child is born, nobody comes by accident. Everybody that comes on it comes because there is a destiny that preceded or that caused the coming of that child, right? So when that child is dead, even through abortion or prematurely or stillbirth, that's a destiny aborted. And we need to know that. Now, if Pharaoh had his way, all the male babies would drown. That was actually his plan to drown all the male babies and to save the daughters alive. And I keep asking, what would be the fate of these daughters? Who would be their friends? Who would be their classmates? Who would be their business partners? And most importantly, who would be their marriage partners? So it was a well calculated attack against the destiny, against the kingdom of God. Attack on boys is an attack against um, God created male and female like very distinctly and uniquely. Like there's nothing like women trying to be like a man or do what men are supposed to do. When it comes to there is something men are supposed to do for God in the world. So if you have a generation where there are no men, if you have, even in Christianity where there are no men, you have a church where there are no men, you have a group where there are no men, there's a big problem, a big vacuum that can never be replaced by not women, that can never be replaced by women, cannot be replaced by boys, cannot be replaced by girls, cannot be replaced because men have a special place where God made them. Hmm. Wow, all the male babies will drown if Pharaoh had his way. And today, Pharaoh still raised man. Pharaoh is still commanding us to cast our sons born in the faith, Christian mothers, Christian families, casting their sons into the Nile, abandoning their sons, not training sons, not raising them to be sexually pure. Oh God, have mercy. But one woman, I hope you'll be that woman today. Jochebeds stood up and said, not my son. I hope you'll be that woman today after this webinar to say, "Mm-mm, I say no, not my son." You see, I began to have a lot of moments as I began to understand, review, learn, read about Jochebed in this month of July. I began to have shock moments. I began to have emergency moments. I began to, oh my God, it's been a plethora of feelings, of emotions, because I decided to unpack the issue there for the first time in my life this month. Now, why does that matter? Loss is now normal. Those are the now we're talking about loss. If the boys lost in after girls, an average boy just thinks that it's normal. Okay, now that I'm growing, I need to have a girlfriend or I need to be the chase girl. Porn is one critical. Sorry, gender confusion is being taught in cartoons and schools. Even churches, we train girls to be modest but leave boys out. Like I say, girls were taught body safety while the boys were